And to follow me is an individual who's a former U.S. congressman, a former state senator and state representative, a friend of this university and this community. Please give it up for Congressman Lincoln Diaz-Balart. Okay, buddy boy. Thank you.
You are a dear friend of the Congressional Hispanic Leadership Institute, President Mark Rosenberg. In addition, you're a dear friend of the Díaz-Balarts. You know, we come as a clan, the Díaz-Balarts. I have one of my brothers here, Rafael, who I have to admit is probably Mark Rosenberg's, among the people that I know, greatest cheerleader. For years, my brother Rafael has been saying, that is an extraordinary leader there, Mark Rosenberg. And he became president of this university, deservedly so, and is doing an incredible job. Thank you for your leadership and your friendship. And it's such a privilege, and I want to thank, I'm so glad that Mark did also Marianne Gomez, the executive director of CHLI, who's here with Mari Cabrera and Leo Velasquez, also of the small but very effective, non-stop, hard-working CHLI staff. I can't thank them enough. In these hours that you'll be here, try to get to know them. They're an exceptional group of young leaders, just a few years older than you, and very, very admirable. I want to thank Joe Avila of the Ford Motor Company. He's helped in an extraordinary way, and Ford Motor Company has sponsored this event today. Joe, we're deeply grateful to you and privileged to have you on CHLI as a great leader. My sister in the trenches, Ileana Ross-Lehtinen, is here. She is not only an extraordinary friend, she's my leader. Last night I was watching her on a local television program, and she was speaking for all of us. So courageously, as she always does, as she always speaks, as she always fights. You know what our students, the students are doing in Venezuela? And they're students, just like you, in Venezuela. And they're in the streets. And they're fighting peacefully, demanding the rights that we have here in this country, the right not to be persecuted for your beliefs, the right to be able to vote for our leaders at all levels of government, and for the votes to actually be counted, and for the results to be dictated by the actual tallies. You know, my friend, former Governor Jeb Bush, would always state, personnel is policy. And that's why our vantage point, the fact that we in this community know and feel for our brothers and sisters in this hemisphere, our vantage point is so key. You as future leaders are going to be so key in changing what I think is something that needs to happen in this country. I don't know about you, but I'm outraged by the lack of interest, the lack of knowledge, the lack of concern, whether it's by policy leaders, commentators, the media in this country, for what happens here in this hemisphere. As Ileana was pointing out last night on TV, our heart bleeds for what we're seeing in Ukraine. Those are our brothers and sisters too. It's wonderful that they get covered in the media. It's wonderful that the President of the United States says there will be consequences if the violence continues at the hands of the government of Ukraine against the unarmed people of Ukraine. That's wonderful, and we support it. But why is there such a double standard? Why is there such ignorance, such lack of interest with regard to this hemisphere? I think somebody needs to tell the President of the United States. The leader of the opposition in Venezuela, he's also a Harvard-educated like you, a Harvard-educated leader like you, and his name is Leopoldo Lopez, and he's in a military prison because he was peacefully demanding the rights that we have in this country. His name has to be known, has to be mentioned. His freedom has to be demanded. Now, we who have been fighting for freedom in Cuba for decades, 55 years, a fight that was begun by our parents, we know what it is to be ignored in a systematic, ultimate, more than extreme way. Right now, there's a hunger striker. His name is Antunes in central Cuba, in a town called Placetas, on the verge of death. Try to get any of the media here in the United States to mention him for 10 seconds. We've seen when Orlando Zapata died because of his hunger strike, or Wilmar Villar died during his hunger strike. Just months, a couple of years ago, I don't remember seeing one word in the media in the United States. Oh, we know. We've been facing that. But the fight continues. Again, personnel is policy, our vantage point. We feel for this hemisphere. We know this hemisphere. FIU knows and feels for this hemisphere. You, leaders of the future, know and feel for our brothers and sisters in this hemisphere, whether it's in Cuba, whether it's in Venezuela, whether it's anywhere in our hemisphere, in addition to our brothers and sisters in Ukraine and around the world, because as Martin Luther King said, an injustice anywhere is an affront to justice everywhere. We do believe that deeply in our hearts, but we have to convey to the American people the importance of our neighborhood, and that our neighborhood cannot be ignored. So welcome. You're going to have a wonderful day. The Future Leaders Conference is extraordinarily important for Chile. We're very proud of it. We've got a wonderful program set up for you today. And again, I thank Marianne Gomez and Mari Cabrera and Leo Velasquez, the staff of Chile, for their hard work. And I thank each and every one of you. In addition to the speakers today who are going to honor us by their conversation and their dialogue with you, they're going to honor Chile. I thank each and every one of you for being a part of this important day. Thank you. Ileana, my sister, who Marianne says now I'm supposed to introduce. I spoke of her already. There is no one in the world who I admire more and who every day speaks more clearly, more valiantly for the values that we're proud of, for our history, for our aspirations of freedom and justice for all in the world than this Congresswoman, Ileana Ros-Lehtinen.
Lincoln, wow. Oye, te quiero mucho, Lincoln.
Yo a ti.